Mate, not long now till the rubber hits the road. You boys must be looking forward to getting out there and getting against a few blokes other than their mates.
Yeah, exactly. There comes a time where you need to play against other opposition and, bashing each other, your teammates week after week, day after day. Has sort of come to an end now. So, the boys are looking forward, especially the young boys, to get an opportunity tomorrow. It's exciting.
Are they where you want them to be in terms of the pre-season? Can you give us an insight into where things are at and how the guys are gelling with those new additions?
Yeah, time will tell, but, we changed our program a bit this year and, added a few things and, we're definitely fit enough and, ready to play. But, as I said, time will tell. Injuries are play an important part of it. We haven't got too many at the moment. I'd like to think that bar Jacob Little, Nathan Lawson and Dill Egan, we get through the trials with no injuries. It'd be a blessing in disguise to go to Vegas.
You just mentioned Liv then. Can you give us an update on how he's tracking?
He's probably week 3, going in week 3.5 of a 6 to 8 week injury. So just started to get back in and moving, and I think he starts running next Monday. It's a grade 3, so it's one of those things that takes a bit of time to, probably needs a month without, any stress on the hamstring. So, as I said, he's at week 3.5, and he'll start, moving a bit more next week.
Nice. You mentioned the young guys that are going to get an opportunity. At 6 and 7, like King Tongia and Cade Reid get the nod. Can you talk us through their selection for tomorrow and an update on how Kyle and Daniel are going gelling?
Yeah, well, if you look at Lycan and Cade, 2 years ago they were the halves in the SG Ball Grand Final. So it's great to see them, progress through. They're still really young, especially for halves to, come into the NRL. Lycan did a good job last year. He had his moments. Offensively, he's fine. So, and Cade, he's been fantastic for us, as a training player over the last couple of years. He gives us some, challenges with his speed, and he played a trial against South Sydney, I think it was at Cogra last year, and scored a great try. Two really talented young halves. Looking forward to them, mixing it with some experienced players, and Newcastle will trot out a few experienced players as well, so good opportunity.
And how are Kyle and Daniel going, gelling together?
Yeah, they're going good.
Is that the preference for come round 1 Vegas, perhaps?
Yeah, they're going good. It's not set in stone, but they're definitely training well. Had a good 3 or 4 months practice together, and everyone, it's not just Kyle and Daniel, it's Daniel and his edge, and Daniel with his fullback and hookers and his back rower and his centre. So there's a bit of work to do. It's just not the 6 and 7 gelling, it's the whole edge and the team. So he's done a really good job. He just moved down yesterday, so he's living in the area now, which will take a bit of time off him and change his attitude too, moving out of Sydney.
What's impressed you about Dan, Shane?
He's really popular within the group. He's friendly, really happy to come to train and wants to learn, wants to play. So that's, it's exciting for everyone else around him. He's infectious the way he wants to attack his footy.
He comes here with an expectation to guide this team around the park. Do you get the sense from him that he wants that, he's ready, he's hungry to be the main man?
He definitely wants it. The expectation bit is, probably more set from the media, which, I fully understand, but, we've got to give him time. And, he's played enough first grade. He didn't play a lot last year. He comes here fresh, ready to go, and, probably got to temper his excitement to do things. But, a simple game will be early on, and then we'll evolve his game over a period of time.
Never just about one guy, Flano, but when you have so many close losses like you did last year, it was really season defining. To have someone like Atco come in who can potentially be that game managing halfback, how helpful is that going to be from that side of things? Yeah,
he won't be the game manager as such. He's got his own individual game. He's a ball runner. That responsibility will fall on a number of people, but it definitely gives us that different point of attack. The boys that were in there last year, Lycan did a good job in his first rule year. A young bloke, 20 years of age. I thought he handled himself really well. So, we're excited to have Daniel at our club, and he'll get a real good opportunity in the trial, next week's trial, and then what an opportunity going to Vegas. So really looking forward to it.
What is the key to hopefully pegging back some of those results that you're on the right end of some of those tight score lines this year?
Yeah, well, if we look at some of the games, there's no one thing. It wasn't a lack of experience or a lack of, we lost 2 games we scored more tries than the opposition, didn't kick goals. 2 of those games were field goals, where, we didn't really even put in too much pressure in the South game. And then there was later in the year, there were some games there that were close losses that we just didn't have the experience on the park. We had a lot of players out. So you can toss up all those excuses. What did we learn out of it? That we need to be better. We need to train to win, not train to play. I thought last year, I had to teach a lot of blokes about first grade. Coming into first grade, we had 8 players make their debut, and it's hard to teach them about playing to win. We were just sort of teaching them how to play NRL. And they did a good job, like some of those boys made their debut, they played 5 or 10 games and handled themselves okay. So that's a pass mark, but this year, just playing in the NRL is not a pass mark, we're going to win. So there's a big difference between learning how to play NRL and learning how to win in the NRL. So that's where we are at the moment.
A couple of rule changes announced earlier in the week. The slightly bigger bench, can we get your thoughts on that one, Flano?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. The way some clubs I think will take different approaches, is whether they probably carry a specialist outside back for sure, and then whether they carry a young player. Hopefully they could give him some experience at the back end of games. Sides will probably carry 4 forwards, and if the game requires it, they'll just play the 4 forwards and won't have a utility there. It's going to be interesting. As I said, it'll be real tactical, and I think the tactics will unfold during the game, and there'll be, for you blokes, it'll create some controversy and create some conversation about, why or, clubs did it or why they didn't do it. So, yeah, I think I'm excited about it. And obviously then there's the health side of that for the players, that gives you the opportunity that, we've got some players that we don't have to play out of position. We might have a specialist on the bench when last year, last couple of years we've lost centres and wingers for the whole game, especially early on. Moses Sully, I remember Anzac Day 2 years ago, we had to play Kyle in the centres and Tom Eisen who's out there, and, that's a tough job when you haven't got a specialist. Now you should be able to have a specialist on the bench, so I like it.
Sorry, on the flip side, how do you make sure that guys are still getting enough game time? Because you don't want a scenario where someone's sitting on the bench all the time and maybe not always getting activated. Yeah,
it'll be a challenge, but sure we'll be able to do it. Our New South Wales Cup side play a lot before us this year, a lot more than that usual. So, you've got the flexibility of playing those boys, or at least 2 of them, for half a game in New South Wales Cup to keep their motor ticking. So, that's a way to do it. And then it's about, obviously looking at your schedule, when is New South Wales Cup play, when's NRL. Some of the sides, that are travelling a fair bit, the Cowboys and so on, could find it a bit hard to get their players a run. But, for us, I don't see it as a big problem.
There's always a lot of talk around where Tyrell Sloan fits into this side. Flano, how have you found his application to pre-season? Is he impressing you? Is he pushing for a starting spot?
Yeah, the last month's been outstanding for him. I wouldn't say he started slow, but he just started along with the other group. But the last month he's put his foot down and he's trained really well. And he wants to go to Vegas, wants to put himself in the team. So it's been really pleasing. If he can play well, we're a better footy team because, you can't buy what he's got, speed and anticipation and so on. He's got some other parts of his game he's got to fix up, and he's worked hard on that. But, to answer your question, had a really good last month.
You see that wing spot there as sort of a where you got a lot of competition now, like Farley, Setu,
Yep.
Where do you see that going?
I'm just really excited to see Setu and Farley play. At training, they've been great, real good. Probably exceeded my expectations, especially early on. They both bring different things to the game, but I'm really looking forward to, seeing them tomorrow and then seeing them next week against South Sydney. And, one of them or 2 of them could force their way into the round 1 team.
Just on Vegas as well, are you getting excited about the event, or as a coach, are you dreading the trip, or how do you feel?
Definitely not dreading the trip. I look at it, we've spoken as a group, but personally I look at it as, it's like a semi-final or grand final week, that there's a lot of other commitments involved in the week, but you should be really pleased that you're there. In a grand final week, there's grand final breakfasts and media commitments that you got to do. And if you make it a hassle, if you look at it as a burden or, geez, why we've got to do this, it'll drain you through the week. We won't be looking at it that way. We're just looking at it as a real privilege as a club to go there and play. Opening round of the NRL season for 26, so fantastic opportunity for us.
Did you give the boys a bit of a loose leash over there to, know
No,
how
no.
far? No, okay.
There's no loose leashes. There's tight. One of those ones, the retractable ones. We got one of them, and it doesn't work. It's really tight.
Any downtime at all? Maybe a bit of
Yeah, there'll some downtime. I think some boys are going to, there's lots of different things that they can do, and we've given them the opportunity to do that, and they've booked some things in. What things that you probably can't do back here in Wollongong, definitely. But they'll have some downtime. But we're going there for business. We're not going there to play.